Yes, I can hear you. So,
Jamil, if you heard what Johar Saab is saying, do you think, first of all, in your opinion, it's going to make a difference? Of course, we've seen a vehement denial by Netanyahu in his administration, which was to be expected. But as far as the world is concerned, is this going to be something that's going to count, in your opinion? Let's talk about that.
well, it counts to the extent that the entire world, the majority of the people, and that it was demonstrated by the protests and people coming on the roads in Europe and UK and United States in favor of Palestine, in favor of the fact that there should be so much of massacre, killing women, children, and all what we are witnessing there. But the mechanism of checking Israel is altogether embedded in the United Nations Security Council, the United Nations Charter. And unless United Nations Charter, Chapter 7 is invoked, Israel doesn't seem to be really listening to anyone. And even if that in United Nations Charter, under Chapter 7, if it's invoked and Israel is forced to stop, which seems very hard, next to impossible, because Israel is supported by the United States. And even the last Security Council resolution was the 10 non-member permanent members. They supported. The 4 member did not veto the permanent member. The only member which vetoed the Security Council resolution was the United States. So that means there is a support of United States and the full concurrence of United States of what Israel is doing. And Israel, I was just having a chat with some diplomats of the Iraq, and in the diplomatic conversation, they said, well, if that much of heavy deployment was not there, then we could have really shown Israel how to really stop what they are doing now. But basically, there are 6 warships deployed, 3 Navy destroyer are deployed, amphibious assault carriers are deployed, aircraft carriers are deployed, fighter squadrons are deployed, and it's all in support of Israel. And by the way, Israel is continuously being supplied all the arms, ammunition, and weapons. 100 tons of the weapons and explosives have already been supplied. So because of this open support by the United States, Israel is not willing to even accept the United Nations resolution. And Israel is not accepted. The Prime Minister of Israel and the Defense Minister, former Defense Minister of Israel, they are not willing even to accept the warrant of the ICC. So they are not willing to accept any international law. And as a result, what's happening? You can see in Gaza today, I was just reading that a surgeon, a female surgeon, a very senior surgeon, who had taken a team there in Gaza, and while she was reading a report there in New York, she had tears in her eyes. She couldn't stop it, and it was just the tears were rolling down her cheeks every now and then while she was reading that. She couldn't even read that report, and what she was describing, that the kind of pathetic scene and the massacre they have seen, the children, the women, the elderly people, and all. So she could hold, and she was really completely broken while she was doing it. So 423 days have passed, and we've been discussing it. The entire world is concerned about it. Still, it's not stopping. So that means there is some very big power, and its support both in United Nations and in physical terms, all the supply of arms, ammunition, money, and all the deployment to deter other forces who could really have some kind of assertion of force on Israel to deter from it. So they didn't do that. Imagine the injured people are over 110,000, journalists 184, UN staff 230, charity workers yesterday got killed.
Dr. Jamil, let me come back to you. As I understand, of course, this humanitarian crisis is now, escalated also about the whole Middle East region at this time. Dr. Jamil, overall, as far as Iran is concerned, let's talk about that. And, we've seen the situation there recently. How do you think, in their response, what do you expect from Iran, for example, now? And overall, we've seen, as far as Turkey is concerned, Syria, the region itself. How would you, see the situation brewing there, particularly with regard to Iran, for example?
Well, post 7th October 23, the Middle East deterrence dynamics have changed. Now, previously, Israel had some deterrence of the proxies. That deterrence, now Israel has started taking risk of it. That's one. Second, you asked about Iran. Iran is now, see what's happening in Aleppo. Last couple of days, the Syrian National Army against Assad has been reactivated along with the other fighters group. So there has to be some reasons behind it. This is second indicator. The third indicator is that Lebanon ceasefire, before it could be properly implemented, that has been violated not once, many times that has been violated. Is it going to sustain there? So what probably Israel wants to achieve in this case, Gaza is one part, and Lebanon, Iran, engaging in Syria engagement, they want to further engage the proxies, and they want to, perhaps they want to thin out the proxies strength in all these regions. Now, if that happens, that means what does it imply? One can only visualize, and one can only make an analysis that Israel is probably planning something different. See what the statement which we witnessed, the Netanyahu saying that as Iran, we will not let Iran to reach the nuclear threshold at any cost. They've been saying it earlier, and then coupled with John Bolton's statement a couple of weeks ago, and in which he has very simply stated that Iran has already achieved that threshold, and therefore it should be neutralized. Therefore, Israel should neutralize it. So that is the third, fourth aspect. So that means the escalation part is brewing. We were thinking that after this ceasefire in Lebanon, perhaps the things would start coming down, and it might as well resonate to Gaza also, an exchange of the hostages. But it's not happening. See what happened yesterday night. Houthis have really fired long-range missiles on central Israel. So that means there are some, since Israel is not stopping, then the...
Dr. Jamil, is there a chance that we can see some unity? Because, as far as Israel's involvement in Syria is concerned, Iraq is concerned, and that we've seen that they've particularly targeted Iranian-backed, militias, and also Hezbollah has caused more civilian deaths also. So, in that kind of a situation, when it's clearly destabilizing all of Middle East, do you think that there's a chance that there can be some unity, and therefore, to prevent this from spilling, more and more as we talk even?
It is not really seen in the near future, because Israel has an objective there. Israel wants to dilute the power, dilute the strength and the potency of the proxies, because they can, unless they do that, they don't think that they would. Now Iran has no choice, and their capability of horizontal operations has been reduced. Now they are left with only vertical capabilities. That means only the capability of the air, by air, the missile, the aircraft. Now that is by itself complete fuel for fire, and that's why itself is a sign of escalation. So unity, they are trying to bring cracks in the unity, and that's why they are striking all these places. But that unity is not being diluted. Unity is there, but there is strength, obviously, with so much of weapons used with so much of power used with so much of support used in Lebanon and in Gaza in particular, that their strength has been diluted, the proxy's strength. And this is what Israel wanted, because that ultimately helps Iran. And Iran now is vulnerable in a way that Iran has come in direct confrontation, because horizontally through the proxy Iran would be less effective as compared to the past, and Iran is now has to rely only and only on its vertical capabilities, that is the air capability, missiles and the aircraft. So that means that if they use that long range missiles, and as per John Bolton's, if they have the nuclear threshold, they have reached that. And there is not one or two or three papers, there are quite a number of papers which have started suspecting and indicating that Iran had attained it's about 60% of enrichment 8-9 months ago, and from 60 to 90% or 95% weapon grade, it takes just few months, if not weeks, to reach there. So they are suspecting that, and therefore it appears that the escalation is not going to stop anytime soon. The unity continues, because the unity is basically because of all the.
Let me take Dr. Adnan. Sir, but Dr. Adnan, if Dr. Jamil is saying that the unity is there, and that of course
of at least some temporary ceasefire then.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Jamil, do you agree with this? Do you think that that is something that would suit America, would suit Trump and his optics, and that we can hope for that kind of a possible ceasefire?
No, we cannot really rule out the possibility. But what is the probability of it? That is one which one could very clearly define. And before I go on that, the previous discussion we were talking about with reference to Iran and the unity. So that was the point, that the unity with regard to the proxies are still there, but unity among the member states of the OIC, we have seen it, we have witnessed it not once, twice, thrice, so many times, that all such occasions, may it be Kashmir, may it be Gaza, may it be Lebanon, may it be problem anywhere, which is enshrined in the charter of the OIC, but then OIC doesn't really take much measures, although they are capable of. OIC is formed under the United Nations Charter, Chapter 8. They are the regional organization. They can take steps given, enshrined in their, for example, para 16 of their own preamble, it says that Palestinian would be supported, and then they have really written a lot of things on it. And then Article 18 is also very clear. I don't want to go into those details further, but that is enshrined in their charter, but they can't do it because there is no unity. The unity among the proxies are still existing, and that's why you see Houthis firing, Hamas firing back, and even Gaza, sometimes they're getting a resistance, and they have suffered a very heavy losses of the soldiers, the Israelis. Now, coming on this hope, yes, we cannot really rule out the possibility, but can we just for a while refresh our memory what during the Trump regime last time, what Kushner did last time, what the decision he had taken, Golan Heights, that is, the United Nations resolution is there that any occupied land by Israel has to be returned back. The Israel has to come back pre 1967. Instead, what Trump had done, that the Golan Heights, bilaterally, he recognized Golan Heights as a sovereign territory of Israel. So that is one. Then we have a very fresh memory that first time the Trump regime had shifted its the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and he had taken again, that was a violation of the United Nations Security Council resolutions. Now this time Kushner says that, it's a very good, waterfront belt, Gaza, and that could be bulldozed, and we could raise here a beautiful building. Trump says that it could be turned into Monaco, right? And then what is happening? I saw the satellite pictures published, and in Gaza, they have started doing the settlement there, and there's a lot of digging, there's a lot of earthwork going on. So that means the initial plan, which they wanted to do the ethnic cleansing, they wanted to push rest of the population to the Sinai, and they wanted to again occupy this land. So, and if I stretch my point a little further, in fact, 1897 onward, there was a concept of Greater Israel, and my mind drifts towards that side once I see, and not for a person like myself. So many other people, they feel that they are inching towards a Greater Israel. So if we have these factors in our mind, I would only hope that Trump, yes, Trump has been claiming, he has been claiming even during his campaign. Last time he had proved that he did not open any new war. Ukraine, yes, Ukraine, there are indicators, and he would probably be in a position.
Shut it down now, or will he shut it down? And you also think that there is a possibility that can happen, right? Ji, Ambassador Sahab.
Probability. It appears that they would be sincerely trying to do that, And what Mr. Trump says that, finish the job of Gaza. Whatever goals you have, Israel and Israeli Prime Minister, finish the job. The job may not be finished, next couple of months and maybe years, although the kind of dire situation now, there are more than 2 million people almost. They are just close to starvation, they're close to famine, and they would die of hunger and they would die of famine, as a matter of fact, because the last aid agency, they shut their operation yesterday because the person was killed. And the aid trucks are being attacked by the groups of civilians supported by Israeli army. So that is a clear demonstration, clear indication, and clear manifestation that they want to really cut off the supply of the water, the food, and all. So
I'm unfortunately out of time. But my last question.